Have you ever wondered how a simple flatbread with toppings became a $145 billion global industry? Or why something as humble as pizza sparks passionate debates about pineapple, crust thickness, and the authentic way to eat it?
Why would you put pineapple on a pizza?
Today, we're not just talking about pizza. We're traveling through time to uncover its rich, surprising, and sometimes cheesy history. Pizza isn't just a food. It's a story of culture, migration, invention, and yes, a bit of controversy. But where did it all begin? Was it invented in Italy? Or does its origin stretch even further back in time? In this video, we're slicing through the myths and baking up the real facts behind pizza's evolution. From the ancient ovens of Persia and the streets of ancient Rome, to the bustling alleys of Naples and the neon lights of American pizza chains, the story of pizza is as layered as a deep dish crust. We'll discover how pizza changed from being the poor man's street food to a symbol of globalization and culinary creativity. We'll also bust some myths about the iconic margherita pizza, reveal how American soldiers played a surprising role in pizza's worldwide fame, and dive into some of the wildest toppings people actually eat today. But here's a thought to chew on. Is pizza still Italian at heart?
What's a pizza?
It's a circular Italian food object.
Or has it become the world's dish, constantly reinvented in every culture it touches? We'll explore how pizza reflects not only our tastes, but also our stories as humans, from survival food to social glue to Instagram-worthy art. So grab your favorite slice, get cozy, and let's dig into the mouth-watering history of pizza. By the end of this video, you might just see your Friday night dinner in a whole new light, and maybe even crave a slice or two. When we think of pizza today, our minds jump straight to Italy. But to truly appreciate pizza's story, we need to go much further back, to the ancient civilizations that laid the crust, so to speak, for what we now know as pizza. Long before mozzarella and tomato sauce graced a slice, humans across different cultures were baking flatbreads topped with whatever ingredients they had on hand. These early flatbreads weren't just food, they were survival. A simple way to turn basic grains into hearty meals that could sustain entire communities. Let's start in ancient Egypt, where some of the earliest evidence of flatbreads appears. Egyptians developed techniques for fermenting dough, giving birth to some of the world's earliest leavened bread. These breads were often cooked on hot stones, and while they lacked toppings, they laid the foundation for later innovations. The practice of using bread as a vessel for other foods was a necessity in these times, blending practicality with nourishment. Then came the Persians around the 6th century BC. Persian soldiers of the Achaemenid Empire famously baked flatbreads on their shields over open fires. To make these makeshift meals more palatable, they would add cheese and dates. While this combination might sound odd today, it represents an early form of using bread as an edible plate, a practice that would persist throughout history. Some historians even consider these creations a primitive proto-pizza, though far removed from what we recognize today. The Greeks, too, had their version of pizza-like food called plakis. This flatbread was topped with herbs, oils, and sometimes cheese or vegetables. It was beloved by the people and commonly sold in marketplaces as an affordable street snack. The concept of adding flavorful ingredients to bread was now deeply embedded in Mediterranean food culture, shaping not only diets, but also social habits around food. Even the Romans embraced this trend with their focaccia, a flatbread brushed with oil and adorned with herbs, cheese, and sometimes honey. Roman soldiers carried focaccia on their campaigns, using it as a reliable, filling food that could last days. Some historians argue that focaccia is the closest ancient ancestor to the pizza we recognize today, thanks to its versatility and popularity across social classes. But here's where things get interesting. Despite these early forms of flatbread with toppings, they weren't yet what we'd call
pizza.
No.
Pizza. The critical missing element? Tomatoes.
Tomatoes?
Tomatoes, native to the Americas, wouldn't arrive in Europe until the 16th century, long after these ancient dishes had been established. At first, Europeans were skeptical of tomatoes, even believing them to be poisonous. It would take decades before they became a staple in Italian cooking, and even longer before someone had the bold idea to spread tomato sauce on flatbread. So, while pizza as we know it didn't exist in ancient times, the groundwork was being laid. The idea of using bread as a canvas for flavors was universal, transcending empires, continents, and classes. It was fast, affordable, and endlessly adaptable, a theme that will continue as we move forward in our story. By the 18th century, all the ingredients for what would become pizza were finally on the table, quite literally. But it was in the bustling, chaotic streets of Naples, Italy, that pizza as we know it took its first true form. Naples, at the time, was a thriving but impoverished city. It was packed with laborers, fishermen, and the working class, all in need of cheap, filling, and portable food. Street vendors and small eateries rose to meet this demand, offering a new dish that was affordable and satisfying: flatbread topped with tomato sauce, herbs, and whatever else was available. This was pizza in its earliest recognizable form. Tomatoes had by now been embraced by Neapolitan cooks,
Nice tomatoes.
especially the poor who couldn't afford the luxury of meat or fancy cheeses. They would smear crushed tomatoes onto flatbreads, sprinkle them with garlic, oil, and herbs, and bake them in high-temperature ovens. The result? A fragrant, savory, and irresistibly delicious meal that could be eaten by hand. No utensils or plates required. Pizza quickly became the quintessential street food of Naples, and its popularity soared among the city's poor. Interestingly, during this period, pizza was considered low-class food, unfit for the wealthy or aristocrats. It was literally the food of the people, cheap, simple, and bursting with flavor. But that changed in 1889, thanks to a famous legend involving Queen Margherita of Savoy. According to the story, the queen, bored of the lavish French-inspired cuisine of the royal court, wanted to try the food of the commoners. A local pizzaiolo, pizza maker, named Rafael Esposito was summoned to prepare his best pizzas for the queen. One of his creations was topped with tomato, mozzarella cheese, and fresh basil, representing the colors of the Italian flag. The queen reportedly loved this pizza so much that it was named in her honor, the Pizza Margherita. This event, whether fully true or slightly embellished, helped elevate pizza's status. Suddenly, it wasn't just for the poor, it became a symbol of Italian national pride. However, even with this royal endorsement, pizza remained largely a Neapolitan specialty for decades. It was still considered street food, enjoyed locally and not widely known across other parts of Italy. Northern Italians viewed pizza as an odd southern curiosity, rarely eaten outside Naples. What made Neapolitan pizza special was its distinct preparation method. True Neapolitan pizza was baked in wood-fired ovens at scorching temperatures, producing a slightly charred, airy crust with a soft, chewy center. The toppings were minimal, focusing on quality over quantity: fresh tomatoes, mozzarella di bufala, fresh basil, and a drizzle of olive oil. These standards would later become the foundation of traditional pizza making, even earning the pizza from Naples a special protected status under European law centuries later.